In a move that can only be described as political theater at its finest, Vivek Ramaswamy, the firebrand former presidential candidate, decided to crash the Democrat National Convention, but this wasn't just a publicity stunt, folks. What Vivek encountered at the DNC is a microcosm of the ideological civil war that's tearing apart the left. From communist newspapers to pro-Palestine protesters, the scene was nothing short of chaos. Now check this out. Are you listening? As we witness the chaos at the DNC, it's clear our roads are becoming as unpredictable as our politics, and that's where CarVision X dash cam comes in. With 4K Ultra HD night vision and 24/7 motion detection, you will have an eyewitness to every moment on the road. So don't let yourself become a victim of false accusations or insurance fraud. Visit carvisionx.com now to get free express shipping and exclusive bonuses during their summer special. Drive with confidence knowing that you are protected. So let's get into what happened. This was an unexpected arrival of Vivek Ramaswamy today. Tenet Media posting this video. Here he is getting swarmed by press and protesters outside the DNC at Union Park. But that was only the beginning. He appeared with Benny Johnson. They had a discussion about Joe Biden being removed as the nominee, predicting a possible resignation to give Kamala an incumbent boost, something that we have been concerned about. Mr. Reagan also bringing up that concern. We can play that in a moment. And then he was also confronted in the middle of protests outside, and he gets called a racist Zionist pig.
I am an American who is actually here to listen to the views of people who
disagree
with
America
me.
will never be a socialist country.
One of the reasons I'm supporting a candidate in this election.
It is a very bad brand.
I support the United States, and because of that, I support Israel and our relationship.
You support a genocide that has killed 40,000 Palestinians in the last 10 months.
So look, I think that the truth is there was an attack that precipitated it.
No,
and we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that fact.
I don't play those kinds of games. I'm an organizer. I'm not one of your.
I'm also pragmatist.
I'm not one of these people.
You're not a party. You're not a partisan hack.
Of yours.
You're not a partisan hack for the Democrats or otherwise.
And I'm not a hack for you or for the Democrats or for the Republicans or nobody else.
I got you.
I'm asking you that you have no right to be here if you're not in support of the Palestinian people.
Well, I think
and if you're not going to call for an end to a genocide,
you have the right to be here.
If you're not going to call
so do we
for
in
an
return.
end to the genocide and an end to the killing and an end to the support of Israel, then you should take off. We don't want you here. You're not welcome here.
Well, the good news is we're America, and so we actually get to all express ourselves peacefully.
You get to express being a racist?
You get to
express being a racist Zionist pig? Is that what you get to express?
I'm pro-American, but I believe in your right to speak.
Wow.
None.
You're racist.
That's a lie.
None.
That's a lie.
Zero.
That's a lie.
And actually,
you're not welcome here. Racists aren't welcome here. Racists aren't welcome here.
Racists go home. Racists go home.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys. Very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of guts to go out there. Somebody as high visibility as he is. This was Freedom News TV posted this just 4 hours ago. Vivek going up and buying a communist newspaper outside the DNC.
What's this one about?
Cash App,
I like this. See, the communists have Venmo. They've got all the digital infrastructure. I like that. Well, we can do cash.
Communists embracing capitalism, right?
What's your best book?
Oh, best book? Well, let's see. I don't want to give you one you might use. Here, how about if you want to know what we're about, brother?
That's good. Absolutely. What's this one about?
This is our paper. We write this and we produce it monthly.
How much is this?
Also $5.
Right here, bro. All right. We'll give you a second $5. Sorry. Thank you.
Let's work together.
Shouldn't it be free?
So, let me ask you. Here's my issue. This is one of my issues with Kamala Harris. I want your perspective on it. I think she has two issues. She has not stated her actual policies. And the reason I respect somebody like Bernie Sanders more than I respect Kamala, and I've said this numerous occasions, I'm not saying it just right now, is if you have convictions, at least stand by them. If you believe in single-payer health care, if you believe in an effective national health care system for all, then stand by it. But why adopt those positions 4 years ago only to back off of them today? Right? I could disagree with you, but at least have the position and stick to it. That's sort of what my criticism is. And my suspicion is there might be some counterintuitive alliances between the so-called far left and actually segments of the so-called far right that want to stay out of foreign wars, that want to end crony capitalism and lobbying and government capture, to say that, you know what, there might be ways where you may not agree with 100% of what I say or what Donald Trump says, but you don't have to agree with 100% of what somebody says to think outside the box and vote a little bit differently. What do you think? I actually, you said I wanted, I am here to listen a little bit, so I'd love to hear your guys' perspectives on why you're here and why you have.
And then the clip ends right there. So buying communist newspapers when they should be free, right? Everything's communist newspapers. Here's a longer clip. Ford Fisher posting this. Let's see what's going on.
Hey, Vivek.
Offer a vision for the country, and that's exactly what. That's
You want to talk?
I actually would want to talk. Yeah.
How's it going, brother?
Good to see you. So tell me about you.
About me, my name is Austin. I'm with the Revolutionary Communists of America. It's the American section of the Revolutionary Communists
May I
of America.
take some literature?
You can read it, but it is for sale. That's free.
It's for sale.
I know.
The
In a
communists
capitalist
are
country.
practicing capitalism. How much is it?
It depends. So that's all under $5. Paper's $5.
I think we can afford that.
I would say.
All right.
Suspicion is there might be some counterintuitive
Okay, so we might be able to get the other side of that conversation.
alliances why you're here and why you have your own disappointments with the current direction of the Democratic Convention.
Yeah, I would say just to respond to one thing, we don't have any illusions that these candidates on either side, obviously to be clear, that Trump or Kamala or RFK Jr. or any party that is backed by big business is going to be able to represent us. They can't be pressured into representing us because we don't pay their bills, we don't pay Kamala's, Trump's, we don't pay yours, because they all have financial backers. That's why we need a workers' party to take down the two ruling class parties, one that doesn't have funding from these big businesses and it's instead funded by its membership.
Yeah, I mean, you realize the convention here, I don't need to preach to you then, but I mean, who buys the sweets, right? Talking about populist talk from the floor of the convention, stand up for the workers and break up the very companies that are sponsoring the whole event, right? So there's a bit of a paradox there. But, all I would say is...
Paradox in what exactly?
Of controlled rhetoric, right? You have a lot of corporate interests controlling the way in which they actually assail those very corporate interests, which is kind of interesting. It is. I think you might be saying something similar. It's all a bit of a charade.
Yeah, I would say one thing that is definitely we're not similar on is you were talking about unification of like the far right and the far left. There is no.
I don't know about unification, but there may be some common threads.
Well, we would say this: there is no perfect American communism, American socialism like this. These other little parties popping up. It has to be international. We aren't here for the success of American working class, because the only way we can be there for the success of the American working class is the international working class in Canada and in Mexico. If you had some, and now we don't believe in this, but let's say there was some perfect, socialist America, it would immediately get pushed out by China, by Russia, by Europe. So we need an international socialist revolution in order to secure a true victory for the working class.
Woo! What do you say, Donald? What do you say?
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
Thanks, Donald, for weighing in on that. We've got this clip here. This is from 4 hours ago, Benny Johnston posting this. Vivek sitting down with him inside of some location. Let's go ahead and play that. And Brian, if you could just take it full screen for us, that would be swell.
Confidence factor on this? You think it's going to happen?
But this the point I was going to make, Benny, is I think it's reasonably likely it happens.
Yeah.
But the point I was going to make is whatever they pull on the other side, I think that our biggest trap now with this short of a time left till the election is that we get consumed by those shenanigans, so much so that we actually forget to just remind the voters of who we are and what we stand for.
Yeah.
And if we do that, irrespective of what trick they pull, Kamala for Biden, who knows whether it's going to be President Kamala or not, who knows, right? The same people who told you that it was not going to be nominee Biden or nominee Kamala, that Biden wasn't going to be swapped out, now are going to tell you with the same confidence they did 6 months ago that he's going to serve out his term. My point is none of that matters. It doesn't have to matter if we don't make it matter. It doesn't have to matter if we actually focus on just communicating to the people of this country. What do we actually stand for in the first year? Seal the border, end the rampant crime. In Chicago, it's like, 14 murders a day. It's like 3 rapes per hour. It's insane statistics in this city. It's like every 18 seconds, you've got a car-related theft. I mean, it's like the numbers are off the charts here.
DNC guy was robbed. Like the delegate was robbed at gunpoint.
I mean, it's just
like down the block.
It's a statistical reality, right? Yeah. And if our messages were going to seal the border, end violent crime,
they gave the robbers free
restore
vasectomies.
the rule of law. Yeah. Oh, the free vasectomy thing is interesting too, right? Because it actually almost proves the point that it's not about women's rights alone. It's actually about the agenda of ceasing family formation and having children. Right? And so that almost becomes part of the agenda itself. And anyway, the point I was going to make is our risk right now. And the reason I'm not dwelling in the prediction, I have my senses of things that could happen, but I think it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant as long as we actually focus on our own affirmative vision that is independent of whichever puppet they put up.
Is this your biggest prediction? That they're going to do the hot swap for Biden while he's in office to Kamala Harris, or do you think
he's going to be swapped out?
Do you think there's something?
Now it matters less.
Do you think there's something else?
You mean yet
to come?
I think that's the biggest one that's going to be in their control.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So a lot of these things, I think that it's like you're just imagine you're a trader in the markets, right? You want volatility when you're out of the money. So I would say the poorer the polls go in Kamala's direction, the more likely they are to bet for volatility. The better the polls look, the more modulated their strategies are going to be. Right? So that's exactly what happened when they swapped out Biden. When you're out of the money, you have all the incentive in the world to play for volatility because it's not going to get worse than bad, because a lot worse than bad is still a loss. Versus if you have volatility in the other direction, you can actually eke yourself out a win. So that's what they did with the swap out of Biden with Kamala. So I think it's a function of how the polls are actually looking. If the polls start sinking for Kamala and the honeymoon phases out, I think you're going to see some wild strategies deployed. I think if it looks like, roughly like it does right now, I think they're going to be temperate in their strategy. And the furthest they might consider going is the idea of potentially, and they have the perfect logic to do it, to say that, okay, well, the health reasons that stopped him from serving, as the presidential candidate, we've made a thoughtful decision on what's best for the American people, and they'd even get to take credit for it. It would kind of make sense if they did.
Wow.
So I think that it's going to be a direct function of what their incentives are. And most people, most parties, most organizations act according to their incentives. Expect nothing different of the Democratic Party.
Oh, wow. Wow. The hot swap, as Benny puts it, is not outside of the reality of the situation. Here's more.
Contrary. These are people who are here because they have actual beliefs that are contrary to those represented by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. So my sense is, at least a lot of what's here appears to be what Donald Trump says, the Republican Party says to vote for him. But if your top issue is staying out of World War, vote for merit and free speech. And you know what? The values this country was founded on. The reality is, vote for whoever you think is going to better do that. So you figure out who that is, and who's going to revive national pride and keep us out of World War III. Figure out who you think is going to be the best person to do that. And whoever that is, that's going to be the right vote for the country. You are telling young people that we do not have the right to vote. You are a scroll coming out here and telling the folks that we can't vote. You will put
these people are lunatics. Can't even have a conversation.
So I'm just curious, what group are you guys with?
Oh, of course, this was making headlines today, too. And there's Nancy Pelosi dropping something suspicious. So Vivek Ramaswamy dropping in unexpectedly to the DNC today. Didn't see that coming. But the DNC adventure is not just a headline, it's a wake-up call. The Democrat Party, once home to working-class Americans, has devolved into a cesspool of radical ideologies and anti-American sentiment. So as we watch Vivek being chased out by angry protesters, ask yourself, is this the party that you want leading our country? Well, the answer, my friends, is crystal clear. The DNC isn't just out of touch, it's become a danger to the very fabric of our nation. Drop a comment below.